Hey everybody, I'm Jeremy, real estate investor here in Killeen, Texas. Today we're talking about a property that we have started and we purchased on Monday, and we are going to be working on in the next couple months. Is what I call a fire scrape. The house had a fire in the fireplace area. The owner at the time worked hard to try and find some contractor to rebuild the house. They were still doing construction in the area. Nobody wanted to actually take the project on, so it wasn't a complete rebuild. He ended up bulldozing the whole damn thing because he didn't want to get fined from the city for having a house with major issues that weren't being addressed. Ended up moving out to West Killeen and buying another house, and at some point decided he just did not need this property anymore as much as he liked it. He had a similar house built and he wanted to get rid of the lot. So he sold it to us pretty cheap. Asking price was $55,000. It originally was for $72,000, which is the value of the land according to the city. But he did sell to us for $55,000. Called it a Black Friday special, although it was more of a military veteran to veteran special. So we got it $55,000. Now the house itself, once we're complete with construction, will be worth $350,000. It's going to cost us about $175,000 to build. The big thing here is a foundation. There's underground piping, underground water, underground electric already in place. It means the lot itself, with all the work already done on it, is worth $125,000 before we started. So with that, we're going to talk about how we found this, which is through an actual contractor, what the plan is to do with the property, how we're funding the property, and again, how much we're planning to make on it. Again, sale price of $350,000 at the low end. That's conservative. So we're looking at roughly $70,000 on the conservative side for profit. With that, we'll get into the rest of the discussion. So we bought this at $50,000. There's a $50,000 slab foundation on it already, on top of a $70,000 land. So the land's worth $125,000 right off the top. Okay. And we paid $50,000. Now the first thing we had to do is, because we're basically rebuilding an existing house, you know, the city had already approved the house, there was already plans, there was already a survey, and we're sticking within that footprint. We don't have to go do any engineering reports and all that type of stuff. We just get with the city. We are having a planner come out, so he's going to do a little bit of a redesign, not much, just a couple minor changes. Like we're going to put an 8-foot glass wall, one of those ones that you see in the commercials where they just slide the whole, like each window collapses down, and then the whole thing tucks away. Now you got this like 20-foot opening to the backyard. We're going to put one of those in. The other change we're going to do is we're going to make the fireplace from the corner to the back wall, and we're going to make it double-sided. So we're going to do an outside kitchen area with an outside fireplace to help add curb appeal and value to this land. Okay. So basically it's one chute at the top, but it splits. So it's not like you can see straight out. Like you've ever seen a fireplace that's two-sided where you can see through it? This is 2 fireboxes with 1 chute.
But one leads outside?
So they both lead together, and then there's 1 chimney.
Are there 2 sides that are in the house, or I thought you were saying one leads outside and one's inside?
Yeah, one's inside, one's outside. But they share the same chimney. So that cuts down the cost there. So it gives us a backyard. So you can see right here where this tree's at, there was a tree that we just cut down. There was a bunch of brick around it. That's all going to get pushed out to build a nice outdoor kitchen area. And then we're cutting that one long tree down, which is what they were working on this week. So we actually bought this Monday. Tuesday we started work. We started with cutting the trees down, getting the porta potty dropped in, and getting a electric pole temporary over here in the corner. So that was put in yesterday, so now we have electric power so we can actually do the deal, or we can do the construction.
Question about the indoor-outdoor thing for the fireplace. How's that going to pair with the security system? Usually security systems can put a little sensor, but you wouldn't want to put that in the fireplace, so how would that work?
Fireplace for what?
I mean, like if it leads to the outside?
It doesn't.
Oh, okay.
So it's 2 fireboxes. So one sits in, so like one like you would see in a normal house, and then you'd have the exact same one right behind it, facing out, and then they just both feed into 1 chimney.
Oh, I was like, how's that going to work?
Yeah, no, so if you've seen living room, I've seen them where the living room, you can see straight through it. This one you won't. You'll just see it. Now the advantage is, because it's already worth $125,000, and we're going to go in stages. So the first stage is going to be, first stage was getting the city to approve the new plan, getting the new plans put in, getting the electric pole put in, getting all the prep work done. So that was this week. Tomorrow we start phase 2, which is going to be framing, sheathing, roofing. That's $40,000. So phase 1, $15,000. Phase 2, $40,000. So we're looking at $55,000. That means we're $110,000 or $105,000 into the project.
It's worth 100 and you said 20.
It was worth 125 just with the land.
Okay.
And we're gonna be 110,000 into the project.
Okay.
By the time we get done sheathing and all that type of stuff, it's gonna be worth, $200,000, and we'll be 110 in. Then the next draw will be all the rough in, plumbing, electric, stuff like that. They'll come in and do the walls. That'll be another $43,000. They'll come in and do phase 3. Phase 4 will be the final touches. Then phase 5 will be the final clear out. So essentially what's going to happen is the entire time we're doing this project, every phase of the operation, we're going to be putting money in. We're still going to be we'll have less money into the project than it's worth.
Right.
So the entire build, we're constantly creating more ARV, more ARV, more ARV, and we're never going to get ahead of that. So we could, at any point in time, we could stop and sell, and it would just be worth more than we actually paid for it. So that protects the investor, the money guy. That protects us because now we have a backup option. If we needed to ditch it mid-project, we could sell to somebody else. They'd want to cut, but we could still get our money back because we're started out with a $50,000 bonus, or actually $75,000 bonus on the value of the land. So at no point in time are we going to be up. Now the builder is building at a slightly cheaper rate. One, foundation's already in place. So normally when they give you a square footage, dollars per square foot to build, that's including a foundation. Because we don't need $1 per square footage to build, and he's a partner on the deal, we're getting it $85 a square foot. So 2,300 square feet, we're going to basically spend $175,000 building. And we got a contract with him for 170 build, 180 is the oh crap money on his side. But we planned for $200,000 build just in case. So essentially we have a $20,000 oh crap fund on top of his $10,000 oh crap fund. So we have a $170,000 house going on a $50,000 lot. So that's $220,000 to build with $30,000 in oh crap.
What are you projecting it to be worth?
$350. Now with the nicer kitchen on it, being on a corner lot, $350 is actually on the low end. We'll probably get $375.
Cool.
So we have $30,000 of built-in oh crap fund, just in case. But what's the advantage of doing this?
Expecting someone on the Range Rover?
Maybe. There was one other person who was talking about. Howdy. So that gives us a lot of leeway. But what's the difference between this and a flip? On a flip, you can't see everything. You got stuff behind the walls. You don't know what's there. You got to do some demo. You might open a wall up and find out the piping's gone bad. There's a lot of things that could go wrong. The sewer lines could be bad because some electrical stuff has been done to the house that's not approved. We don't have that. So although we have a $30,000 crap fund on a $170,000 build, there's very little that could possibly go wrong. We had a guy come out and check the foundation. He's already tested it and said, all right, we need a little bit of leveling, which is what they were supposed to be working on today, just to get it nice and perfectly smooth before we start building. And we tested the water lines to make sure that the sewer lines were good. And so those are the two things we could check. And so we know going forward that the chances of there being a crap moment are pretty slim to none because we're just building from the ground up. So it's a lot easier to do a new build because you don't have to worry about crap. We didn't account for that.
What's the limit of what you're willing to build it up towards? Because like you were saying, the CMA, the Central Comparative Market Analysis, how much are you willing to go before you stop?
As far as,
Value of the property.
So we basically planned for a $175,000 build. And the value will be $350 with that. Now, the one other change that we decided to make, which isn't included in those numbers, this one has a 2-car garage. Our agent that ran the comps said that a lot of houses around here have 3-car garages, and you can get more with a 3-car garage than a 2-car garage. And that's the number I got to verify is it's going to cost us about $3,500 to build a 3rd car. It's right off the right side here. If it adds $10,000, great.
It's worth it.
If it adds $3,500, not worth it.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing we're going to check is whether or not putting in that 3rd car is going to make a big difference.
We're just adding an extension on the driveway.
Yeah, well, literally we'll just extend the garage out to the right a little bit because the actual roof on the garage went this way. So to add a couple more feet, basically to where that white pipe's at, move that clean out forward a few inches and call it a day. If I remember right, it was about $10,000 in difference. So that's like that's the one structural change, and then the backyard adding a better patio on the back. Those are the two changes we're going to make this house nice. As you can see, the fence line's already mostly done. Just got to put the panels back in place because all the poles are still in place. Otherwise, this is pretty straightforward, pretty simple. Build a new house. And And it's a great stepping off point to building houses from the ground up in the future. He has that capability. He's done stuff like that. He's never done it as an investment. He's always done it as a build for somebody else as a contractor. So the next step is, once we've built this, where can we build more houses? Now that we've worked through the systems, now that we've worked with this contractor on a bigger step, take the next step and build a whole brand new house. Duplex, triplex, quadplex. So, but it all comes down to the value of the land. If it wasn't for the land value, you know, we got 125 for 50, this wouldn't be worth it. But otherwise, this one's pretty straightforward. Like I said, we just got to dust this off, level it out, and start building, which we'll start Monday.
How did you find the deal?
Brian, the contractor, talked to the guy who was selling the land. On the fact that Brian was a former military, I'm a former military, the guy sold it to us cheaper. Because he was trying to sell it for 72, but he said he was doing some sort of Black Friday deal. And since it was us, he was going to cut it to us for 50.
Someone sold their house Black Friday special to you?
Yep. So
I didn't even run Black Friday promotions. Should have.
we got the house cheap. As you see, a little bit of work on the fence, but otherwise, it's a pretty straightforward deal.
Yeah.
We'll obviously have to landscape it, but it's a nice corner lot, top of the hill. Right down here is the YMCA park with the access down there, and I think there's a side access there somewhere. Great spot. So the 350 is actually just based on an average house. I think once we get the house built, we'll get more than that.
Cool.